come to order. Let's take the roll.
You have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you. I apologize to everyone who has been waiting here. It was Budget Day in the Senate, and it was a spirited occasion, as always. And so what we're going to do is just take up these 6 revenue bills because they do have to get in and get done. And I wanted to start out, if we could, here with House Bill 1442, Delegate Jones. The list has been overruled.
Ready.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, House Bill 1442. There's actually a substitute we can get before you at this point.
Okay. Can we report the sub? Staff. All right, do we have a motion on the substitute? Have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second on the substitute. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Substitute is before us. Delegate Jones, 1442.
Thank you, Senator Marsden, members of the committee. I think you might be slightly familiar with this. This is the handheld speed monitoring camera bill. In the substitute, it actually clarifies that only law enforcement is placing and setting up and operating the equipment, and allows the fine that is levied to be used for that equipment. In the substitute, the fine is reduced from $125 to $100. There are no new violations as it relates to this bill. It's only a new method of enforcement. This is similar to a red light camera. There is a local option with this bill. If you receive a notice of a violation, all you have to do is return it saying that you weren't the driver. There's no automatic ticketing or violations, and they don't impact your driving record, and they're not reported to insurance. This is only in work zones where workers are present, and when in school zones when it's indicated that the driver is going over a certain speed limit. I'd also say that I know that the committee might have some concerns about bias and racial bias. I think when they're talking about law enforcement and automatic cameras, you kind of eliminate that because it's really empirical based on a specific number, and so it's not as if a law enforcement officer can target particular people of color or such. So I'd be happy to entertain any questions on this bill.
Thank you, Delegate Jones.
Mr. Chairman.
Questions from the committee?
Mr. Chairman?
Senator Spruill.
The delegate says school zone. I'm trying to find out, it also says work zone. That included in this too?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Senator Spruill, work zones are included in this bill.
Mr. Chairman,
Senator DeStef.
I know it's 16 pages, 422 lines. I've found where the school and work zone is, line 3, 18, and 19, but I'm trying to find where we talk about it's only certain speeds. Again, I'm just starting. Okay. Maybe I just need to read a little bit faster. I'm only on page 12, top of page 13. So I'll keep reading, and hopefully we'll have the opportunity to catch up before we vote. Okay.
Could the staff advise Senator Steff on his inquiry?
Yes, Mr. Chairman and Senator Steff, on lines 331, it notes that the operator would only be liable for the monetary penalty if they're found to be traveling at speeds of at least 10 miles an hour above the posted speed limit.
So it's not over 10 miles, it is 10 miles or over. Senator DeStef.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Delegate Jones, I'm also, if you could point me to the bill section that talks about that if they say, hey, it wasn't me, somebody else was driving it. I know that you said that as well. I'm just trying to find that in the bill.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Steff, I think that's on page 13, line 340. I think that section 2, I think, is addressing the concern that you might have.
What is that line?
Line 300. I'm sorry.
And Mr. Chairman, it's subsection 3, starting on line 347 of page 14.
Could you repeat that, please? What line?
347.
347.
It begins on 347, the language about filing an affidavit to dispute. The language is on 352, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Steff?
Mr. Chairman, just one last follow-up, and I'm promise I'm going to try to finish reading this before we get to a vote. In here, I know, and it's probably in here, I just haven't gotten it yet, but if I'm in a loaner car or rent a car or something like that, how do we know that that ticket's not going to go to the owner of the dealership that's giving me a rental car or a loaner car, and that it's actually going to the individual who is actually driving that vehicle at that time?
Delegate Jones?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Steff, I'm going to phone a friend if that's okay, or if Emma wants to sort of clarify the language.
Mr. Chair and Senator Steff, that language about the lessee is also provided in that subsection. I believe that this is the same language that we have for red light cameras, and it would be handled in a similar manner.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I
Senator
may, just
DeStaff.
as a quick follow-up, so if you can walk me through how that would work, that would I, as the person that's in that loaner car or the rental car, would I actually get the violation, or would it be given? Because right now on like the hot lanes and speed lanes and things like that, it goes to the owner of the vehicle, being the dealership or the leasing company or the rental company. And then for the most part, they just pay it because it's cheaper for them to pay a $10 or $5 fee than it is for them to have the manpower to track it all down. So I'm just trying to find or understand how that would work in this based on the substitute that's currently in front of us.
Senator Martin, Mr. Chairman, and Senator Steff, I would point you to line 372, which is on page 14, and it says, in the case of a vehicle lessee or renter, the copy shall be mailed to the address containing the records of the lessor or the rentor. And it's my understanding, and I think in my experience, when I rent a car and I go through a toll that doesn't have an easy pass, that ends up getting charged back to me on the back end. And so I assume that this would probably be no different in that circumstance.
I believe that's the same thing that works with parking tickets and anything else that someone gets while they're in a rental car. The company will find you.
Yes.
Okay.
So Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Senator
I
DeStaff.
just want to clarify one thing. So if I'm a car dealership and I've got multiple locations and thousands of cars I sell a month, and I'm very successful in that, and at any one time I've got 50 to 100 people in a loaner car while we're doing a recall or maintenance on their vehicle, then since I'm shown as the owner of that loaner car, I'm going to get, for every time somebody goes and does this, I'm going to get a violation sent to me at the dealership. And then it's up to me to hire somebody or have somebody staffed to track down who was at that date, at that time, to track through all of our records to figure out who was renting it, so I can now send it to them, so they have to answer that summons and either pay it or then challenge it from there. I'm just trying to better understand this. And again, we've had the substitute for about 2.5 minutes, and I've not had a chance to really read it.
Mr. Chairman, Senator
Delegate
Steff,
Jones.
I would say that this is no different system than if you have a red light camera system in place, which I believe Virginia Beach actually does use. And so if you are incredibly successful, I also would probably imagine that your organization has incredible means of going to find some of these people. So this isn't, I think, an extra burden or an onerous burden on those folks.
And Delegate Jones, would you say this is standard industry practice to handle these matters in
Mr.
this
Chairman,
way?
I would say it's standard industry practice. I understand the senator's concern, but I think in the example he's talking about, if we're talking about the bigger guys, they probably have departments that are dedicated solely to this, as it already is.
Very good. Very
Mr.
good.
Chairman,
Senator Sproul.
this version in the Senate I voted against. What's the name? Can Lawyer down front, can she tell me what's the difference from this version? I was trying to read what's different between this version and what was in the Senate. I'm trying to figure out, for the vote against the Senate version of this bill, and I'm trying to find out what is the real difference between this version and the Senate.
Senator Sproul and Mr. Chairman, the The language in the substitute makes more clarifications about the ability of localities. There's also a different maximum penalty, and there's language about the fees going to state police being used to cover the operation. I believe those are the major differences, but I can verify that and give you a more detailed answer.
Thank you.
Okay. Senator Favola.
Just want to be absolutely clear here. This is something that localities can choose to use on streets within their jurisdiction, whether they're, I'd like clarification on that.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Favola, yes, this is a local option, and it is limited to school zones and work zones only.
Only. Okay, so this is narrower, I believe, than the bill that I think Senator Sproul is referring to.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Senator Favola, I would say that this is narrow. I think this is drawn to address some of the concerns that the committee had for the chairman's bill, and I would say, again, we want to keep our children safe, we want to keep our workers safe. This is only in those two particular instances, should the locality choose to do so.
I don't know if you're going to take speakers, Mr. Chairman, but I'm comfortable with this bill, and we'll make a motion.
No, we do want to take speakers.
Particular time.
And I wasn't going to mention my bill in this as it.
My apologies.
As it met.
We were.
Okay. You can always count on your friends. Thank you. Any other questions for the patron? Anyone here to speak in favor of the bill?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I'm John Jones with the Virginia Sheriff's Association. There was a work group over the summer where we worked on this bill from the bill that came through last year that was passed and sent back. So we do support the bill. It's another tool in the toolbox to provide safety to the citizens in the school zones and work zones. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else in favor of the bill?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I'm Brantley Tyndall with Sports Backers, and we represent a variety of advocates here to support the bill to save lives and reduce speeds, including the Virginia Chiefs of Police who are not here, Drive Smart Virginia who are also not here, but have supported this bill. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Sarah Taylor, City of Alexandria. We believe that protecting vulnerable road users, pedestrians, but cyclists in our community is a very complicated issue, and so we need lots of tools in our toolbox in order to address it, and we believe that this would be a solid tool in our toolbox. It would be right for our community, and we appreciate the local option for us to do it in our community.
And if the chairman of this committee still lived in the city of his birth, he would be safer. Is that correct?
Absolutely. As Alexandria's first son, we would love to keep you safe in our community, in work zones and school zones only.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone in here opposed to the bill? Bill is before us. Delegate Jones, did you want to wrap up anything?
Thank you for the opportunity to give you a chance to keep our kids safe and our workers safe in construction zones.
I move to report the bill.
Substitute motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Oh,
then,
and we
this
refer
bill,
to finance.
could we make the motion to refer to finance? We have a motion and a second to pass the bill and report to finance. We have a
Substitute motion.
have a substitute motion.
To PBI.
Have a substitute motion to PBI. So if you want to PBI the bill, vote yay. If you want to not PBI the bill, vote nay. Please open the roll. Wait a minute. There we go.
You good? Ayes 7, noes 8.
Ayes 7, noes 8.
Mr. Chairman, there was some confusion down here about which way to vote.
We strike the roll and start over again. We have a motion to PBI the bill. Vote aye if you want to PBI. Vote nay if you do not.
Ayes 7, noes 8.
Ayes 7, noes 8. The bill is not PBI'd. It's before us. We're back to the primary motion, which is to pass the bill and refer to finance. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Ayes 8, noes 7.
Ayes 8, no 7. Mirabile dictu. The bill is off to finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You have one other?
I do. I have House Bill 1439.
House Bill 1439 is before us, and I believe, just to deal with this expeditiously, what we want to do here and what I would ask for a motion for. We have certainly heard this bill here and would like to conform it to the Senate substitute that came out of this body. And I would look for a motion to do that very thing. We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second to conform this bill to Senator Lucas's, do we have a number?
907.
Senator Lucas's 907 as the substitute came out of the Senate.
Worse. Speaking to the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Suderline.
So if we conform Delegate Jones's bill, his great provision in there regarding safety inspections would be removed, and our governor, who made such a strong statement on this important issue and trying to relieve working Virginians of this burden that the vast majority of Americans don't have, would no longer be before us. So I oppose conforming because I don't want Delegate Jones's provision on safety inspections and Governor Northam's proposal to no longer be before us. And it's disappointing we didn't go with him on Catawba earlier today. I hope we'll go with the governor on safety inspections repealed tonight.
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman?
Senator Spruill?
I appreciate what my colleague says, but the governor's the governor. We are senators. It's before us, before the Senate, not before the governor.
Senator Spruill? And what we do is we have that, and Senator Suderline, you can express your opinion on your voting board, and but we have a motion to conform this to Senator Lucas's
Committee. I appreciate
bill.
that.
And clerk, does this need to be referred to finance? Yes, and so it's a referral to finance.
We got to conform.
Oh, we got to conform first. Excuse me. I'm sorry. So all those in favor of conforming, is this a voice vote? Please say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
2 noes?
Me and Obenshane.
No, record your noes.
Report as amended and send up to finance.
We have a motion and a second to report as amended up to finance. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay. Delegate Jones, way to go. All right. Alfonso, my apologies. What is your bill number?
That would be, the bill number is 1196, sir.
Do we have a substitute or an amendment?
What was that, sir?
Any substitutes or amendments?
I don't believe, there was a committee substitute on the House side, but there's no substitute right now.
Right. Delegate Lopez, tell us about your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. HB 1196 simply codifies budget language we passed last year. The bill will eliminate driver's license suspension for failure to pay court fines and court costs. Additionally, this bill requires the reinstatement of driving privileges at no cost for any person who currently has the driver's license suspended for failure to pay fines and costs. This will streamline the process and alleviate resource concerns.
Mr. Chairman,
suspend.
The parliamentary inquiry. This bill is identical to another bill we passed, but it has an emergency clause, right?
Right. It's the Senator Stanley bill.
We don't need to take testimony, I think. We just need to figure out the emergency clause and move it on, right?
Delegate Lopez, is anything you want to tell us is this identical?
You are all incredibly handsome and wonderful people.
All right, and with the hour being what it is.
Move to report and refer to finance.
We have a motion to second to report and refer to finance.
Mr. Chairman, I just have one
Senator
question.
Suderline.
I think that's what Senator Servo was asking about the emergency clause, the posture of Delegate Lopez's bill versus the posture of Senator Stanley's bill. And I would just like clarification on the posture of both bills so that we can then proceed from there.
Okay, do we have,
Mr. Chairman, the House bill does not have the emergency clause, and the Senate bill does have the emergency clause.
so would we need to put an emergency clause?
Move to amend.
Second. Conform this bill to Senator Stanley's bill. Add the emergency clause.
Second.
Okay, we have a substitute motion to add the emergency clause and report the bill and conform it and re-refer to finance. So we're going to conform.
Motion to conform?
Motion to, we have a motion to well, let's back up here. First, we have a motion to place an emergency clause on the bill. Is that correct?
Amendment, yes.
As an amendment? To conform bills.
Conform that does both, yeah.
Okay, do those both at the same time. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the bills are now identical. Do I have a motion to report and refer to finance?
Second.
We have a first and a second to report and refer to finance. If you're in favor of that, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. You're on your way.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
All right. Next up, I believe you have Delegate Tran.
House Bill
I'm just gonna
1211,
verify
which I think you're also familiar with.
House Bill
Mr. Chairman.
1211.
Mr. Chairman. This bill is a species of mine. I would move to conform this bill to the bill we passed by me and Senator Boysko.
Okay, we have a motion to conform the bill to Senator Boysko's bill.
No, in my bill and
Your
Boysko.
bill?
Boysko chief.
I thought you said it was Senator Boysko's.
My bill, Boysko chief co-sponsor.
Oh, thank you very much.
I will second that motion.
We have a first and a second to conform this bill. Any discussion on that? Any emergency clauses or anything else we need to add?
I have a question.
Senator Suderline.
We're conforming, the motions to conform Delegate Tran's bill to Senator Servo's bill.
Correct.
And the bill changed numerous times. So please tell me, would that be to a driver privilege card?
Yep.
Not, okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I
Senator
have one
Steph.
quick question on that. On Senator Servo's bill, I know there was a requirement for showing you paid your taxes, and I believe there was a requirement for showing you had insurance, if I'm not correct, if I'm correct as well. Is that correct?
Speaking to the bill, that's correct.
Senator Servo.
Yeah, speaking to the bill, that's correct.
Okay, so as long as we're going to conform
Senator
this bill to
Senator
that bill,
DeStaff.
you have to have proof that you've paid your taxes, and you have to have proof of insurance, then I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Any other discussion on the amendment to conform? If not, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay, the bills are conformed. Do we have a motion on the bill? Move to report and refer to finance. Is there a second? Second. We have a second. All in favor, say, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Ayes 8, no 7.
Ayes 8, no 7. The bill
Thank you.
reports. Thank you. Delegate Sickles is next.
Hello, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My bill is HB 885. It's similar to Senator Sudoline's, and I understand from looking online that you accepted my $100 fine from 80 to 85. So his bill has passed out of the House committee now on a 21-1 vote.
And it should be on the floor, I think, on Monday.
And I'll handle it there with care.
Wonderful.
It is Senator Sickles, so the posture of your bill with regards to, is my understanding, with regards to Senator Suderline's, is yours is over 80 miles per hour, excuse me.
No, the bills are the same now. What I did was different from him originally, was to had an extra $100 fine from 81 to 85. 86 miles an hour is a Class 1 misdemeanor now instead of 81 miles an hour in our bill.
And so right now, reckless
Reckless is at 80 miles an hour.
is at 80 miles an hour?
And this bill only changes it to 86 when you're in a 70 mile an hour zone. Nowhere else.
Okay.
You have to be 70 because
and in Senator Suderline's bill, I think it was not 86, it was
85.
85.
Yeah, but it was just to clarify that the extra $100 fine is between 81 to 85, and then 86.
Okay.
So my
Any
bill is
any questions from the committee? We have a
Mr. Chairman, just a point of order.
Senator Evan.
You called him Senator Sickles, and he's in my district. I'd rather he not have that title.
It is,
I'm a
well,
constituent of
he is so, so well-respected that people just assume, I think. At any rate, we have a motion to,
No.
no, we're
You
not
don't need to
conforming.
conform.
We have a motion to pass the bill from Senator Newman. Do we have a second? Second. And to refer to finance. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay.
Thank you.
Ayes 11, noes 4.
There you are, Senator Sickles, or Senator Sickles, Delegate Sickles. There we go. Delegate Guzman, she. Welcome, Delegate Guzman.
Thank you.
And what is your bill number?
578, Mr. Chairman.
Turn your attention to Delegate Guzman's 578.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This bill is about smoking in motor vehicles with a minor present. This bill is increasing the age to 18 years of age. And the reason is that the kids are getting secondhand smoke from a young age, and 8 is too young for kids to be breathing in large quantities of smoke as they do in a car. The moving vehicle is the perfect place to create concentrations of tobacco smoke. Second, smoke is one of the main reasons for lung cancer and has caused asthma in children. There is no set age for lung development, so it varies depending on many circumstances. Had some statistics to share. In Virginia, 150,000 youth who are alive today will die prematurely from smoking if we don't act now. And 7,300 youth become new daily smokers each year. 9.7 million packs of cigarettes are bought or smoked by kids. And it's just one of the main causes. It creates carving to smoke, and it's one of the main reasons why children, when they turn 18 now, or now 21 in Virginia, are going to smoke immediately.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Guzman. Do we have any questions for the patron in the committee?
Move to report and refer. Second.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to,
Senator Cosgrove?
just before we vote, I just got to say, if you want to think of another reason for profiling, having another reason to pull somebody over, this is going to nail a lot of people. I'm just telling you right now, this is not a good bill.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Delegate Guzman.
There is a clause in letter C of the bill where it says no citation for a violation of this section shall be issued unless the officer issuing such a citation has cause to stop or arrest the driver of such a motor vehicle for the violation of some other provision of this code.
I think her answer is this is not a primary.
Offense. Yeah, but still.
Does that alter your?
No, it's all smoke and
Mr. Chairman.
It's okay.
Being the
Senator
author
Pillion.
of the original bill, how does this differ from the original one?
Changes the 8 from 8 to 8. The author from the original bill,
He's the author.
I'm the author of the original
Oh.
bill.
What it changes the 8 from 8 to 18.
So how is enforcement different between 8 and 18? Because the reason it was originally linked to 8 is because up to 8 you have to be in a car seat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an easy way to identify the kid. So how do you, between 8 and 18, how are you going to identify what the age that kid is?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, 8 years of age, I would say it is a relative factor to determine whether the person is in a car seat, because it's not only by age, but if a child who is younger than age but qualifies by weight, it cannot be wearing a car seat, it cannot be having a car seat. However,
It's only age in Virginia.
Delegate Guzman, the question from, I have a question. So because this is not a primary offense, someone's pulled over for speeding, and they've got a cigarette in their hand, and there's someone who looks 14, 15, the officer would then be required to question the driver as to the age of the child in the car, or question
Yes,
the
Mr.
child
Chairman.
themselves?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I was getting there, yes.
And that is how it would work.
Yes,
Okay?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
Senator
Chairman,
Suderline.
speaking of that, and I was not enthusiastic about when the former delegate from Washington brought this legislation a few years ago, but but I think that what the patron just said is very problematic. We generally don't pass laws in which we can't enforce unless either the parent or the driver basically has to testify against themselves by saying, yeah, this person's underage, or they have to have their child more or less testify against them to the policeman and say, yeah, I'm 16. I just don't think that it's right.
Yeah. Okay. Other questions from the committee? Do we have a motion? Oh, excuse me. Anybody here to speak in favor of the bill? Anybody here to speak in opposition to the bill? All right. We operate on a motion.
Move to report and refer.
We have a motion to report and refer.
She says for
Doesn't-
whatever reason doesn't need to go to finance, which is unusual,
No,
but I will second that motion.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. Does not need to go to finance. We have a first and a second to pass the bill. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Mr. Chairman, parliamentary inquiry. So if this is a
Senator,
revenue
staff,
bill.
we just had the vote. Could we announce the vote?
Sure.
Ayes 6, noes 9.
Ayes 6, nays 9. The bill fails to report. I think the parliamentary inquiry is now out of order.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We're done. Sorry, Bill.